Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the first legend team in the entire world for the max out season of Pokemon GO Battle League. The first legend in the world this season, their in-game username is Zweilous, an incredibly talented battler and regional champion hailing from Germany. Now, Zweilous ran a team consisting of Toxapex lead, Diggersby, and Talonflame in the back. So Toxapex plus Diggersby, a core that we've seen have great success in play Pokemon tournaments, and Talonflame as always a great sweeper. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at the team in action in the Open Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a bit of a tricky lead, Toxapex versus Malamar. Malamar is a core breaker for the Toxapex plus Diggersby core, as it has super effective Psywaves for the Malamar and super effective superpowers for the Diggersby. I am able to survive a foul play though, and I'm going to fire off the Sludge Wave. If this connects, I'm going to look to send in Talonflame here, hoping to force their energy. Opponent is going to save their energy and bring in Aurorus. Aurorus would not have been a fun Pokemon for Diggersby or honestly for the Toxapex to see, so I'm pretty okay seeing it here with Talonflame. Even though my charge attacks are completely walled here, the Incinerate damage is what matters. The Incinerate's just shredding through the Aurorus. Aurorus is going to be firing off energy. It will just be the Weather Ball. I'm going to build up to the back-to-back Flies, and the Incinerates have done enough damage that a Fly will be able to knock out. So I am able to pick up the KO. Aurorus gets knocked out, and what is the opponent going to send in here? Is it going to be the Malamar? No, it's going to be their Talonflame. Opponent makes a beautiful catch, catching onto the Malamar. Honestly, that isn't terrible for me, just purely based off the fact that Malamar did have some energy. Here, I'm going to bank a move, switch, and make a catch onto my Diggersby. My opponent, to my surprise, is actually running Flame Charge. This season, I do think that it is typically going to be preferred if you do end up running Fly Brave Bird, as Fly Brave Bird does offer you insane coverage in the endgame. And here, I'm going to build up to 10, which is bluffing a Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam bluff is successful. My opponent is going to commit the shield. I actually get the attack drop, but the attack drop does not matter whatsoever here. All I have to do is just bring in the Toxapex. If they end up throwing a fast move, I can throw one Poison Jab in combo with the Brave Bird, or if they throw their energy, then I can just tank it, throw a Poison Jab, get the combo, and this game will end in victory, as Brave Bird will easily be enough to secure that win. We move to the next match. Great lead. Toxapex versus Shadow Cactur. An opponent safe switches into their own Toxapex, and I get to respond with Diggersby. So far, in this game too, we're off to an amazing start. We hard win lead, we're super strong into grass types, and we hard win the safe switch matchup as well, as Diggersby can absolutely dominate Toxapex. Diggersby, I'm going to go for the Scorching Sands on charge attack priority, hoping that this is going to be enough to knock out. But look at the bulk on Toxapex. It survives and makes another brine. I was pretty confident that would KO. But to be fair, I do not play a lot of Diggersby. Opponent is going to bring in their own Diggersby, and they're going to get hit with the Scorching Sands. I don't really want to stay and give them a bunch of farms, so I'm just going to bring in Talonflame. And look at this. This is a big glitch that is occurring right now. Your eyes are not deceiving you there. That Diggersby, even though it's doing normal quick attacks, looks like it is doing Incinerates. And that's the biggest reason why I titled this video that I would not recommend people use this team. Because there's a really big glitch with Incinerate users right now, where if you're using Incinerate, it looks like the opponent is using Incinerate as well, and it can really mess with your counts. Like, how are you supposed to count here? Like, I know that since I did 1, that they did 2 and the move, but it's very, very distracting because you're seeing a fast move animation that they aren't using. So overall, I think the team is probably a really good team for climbing, but at the current moment, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because this animation glitch is just absolutely horrific. I haven't really run an Incinerate user in a bit, and now I'm not going to until they get this patched because my goodness, that is incredibly difficult to watch. We move to the next match, Toxapex versus the Alolan Sandslash, opponent bringing in a Azumarill. Okay, this is pretty okay. I needed to bait this out. Ice Beam, not going to do a ton of damage. My goal will be to tank an Ice Beam and then start shielding. I'm expecting it could be another water in the back, so getting shields down will be my ally here. I fire off the Scorching Sands. I don't get any debuffs, but that's okay. Ice Beam, not going to do a lot of damage, so I'm going to let this go. But this is a rare Azumarill running Hydro Pump. Oh, that is really not good, as the Hydro Pump picks up the KO. I don't get shields down, and now if there's a water type in the back, I'm going to be in a very tough spot. I fire off the brine, I send in the Talonflame, and it's Feraligatr in the back, and look at the animation glitch. Oh, it is incredibly frustrating to try and count when Incinerate is just going off and the opponent doesn't have Incinerate. There, I ended up throwing on Alignment because I thought they were on 8, so my thinking was if I tried to throw another and throw in good timing, they could just outpace, and then I would have to throw on Alignment anyway. But of course, I can't be sure because of this incredibly frustrating glitch. So, if you care about counting, I would not recommend running an Incinerate user until this gets patched. This is just really, really frustrating. The drill run will connect, and here, I actually see a win con. And the win con is this. I either build up to 2 brines and throw Bolt to knock them out, or I just let myself get KO'd, I farm down, I leave with the fly, but they make a move. Can I survive this plus 2 Shadow Claws? If I can, I win, but I fall just short, and that game will end in a loss. Bad lead in the next match. Toxapex versus Clodsire. I save switch into Diggersby. Opponent, oh my goodness. They switch in a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn can hit for super effective damage, but I can return fire for double super effective damage with fire punches. And I strictly outpace in this matchup, so I'm going to be able to win switch. Switch advantage doesn't honestly do a ton for me. I'd much rather my opponent actually shield here, and then I can let the Diggersby go and get farm with Talon, but instead, they're just going to let it go and bring in the Clodsire. I'm a bit surprised they brought in the Clodsire here. Clodsire, I'm going to get some very nice damage on this. Like, landing a Scorching Sands is huge. Opponent now going to switch out. They have a Low Kicks in the back, a very cool pick. A Pokemon that I really enjoy using. Unfortunately, Low Kicks is going to have an absolutely terrible time against this team, as I have Talonflame and I have the Toxapex. They're going to look to boost up their damage. I'm going to look for this farm down, get the farm down, and again, those animations, oh my goodness. In comes the Clodsire. I just go straight for the Brave Bird at this point. Opponent lets it go. I get the farm down, and I'm able to take the win with both shields remaining. Oh, we get a dream lead in the next match. Toxapex versus Machamp. Opponent save switches into Dugong, and this is very okay for Toxapex to stay into. Opponent can fire off a drill run, but 2 drill runs do not KO, and Ice Shard is going to do very little damage. My ideal play pattern here would be to land a Sludge Wave and catch a drill run onto Talon. So I land it, I'm going to throw 4, switch, catch, and sneak. Oh, that is absolutely massive. But the bad news is Talonflame entered the field, which means we now have an Incinerate Dugong on our hands. Oh my goodness. This game, man, this game. In comes Machamp. I will fire off the Fly. Fly is going to be shielded. Machamp also using an Incinerate animation. Even though they're still using Karate Chop, the animation is what's wrong. I shield up, and my opponent actually had Rock Slide there. So I guess someone who just doesn't have an Elite Charge Team quite yet, I'm able to land the Brave Bird onto the Clodsire. And now, I just get to fire off another Brave Bird. Talonflame with Brave Bird and Fly, it's just the way to go this season. And it turns out there's actually a charge attack priority tie. I don't know if that happened because my opponent was confused by the animations. I'd be very curious to see what the animation looks like from the other side, because my goodness, it looks very silly if you're the one using the Incinerate user. The good news is if you just don't use Incinerate, then you're not going to have this problem. Like, Incinerate as a whole is a move that can be avoided until I patch whatever bug this is, but man, I just really wish that they could playtest some of this stuff so these bugs wouldn't happen. My opponent is going to bring back in the Clodsire. Clodsire can pick up the knockout here with a Stone Edge, but I can bring in the Diggersby, quick attack down, and pretty comfortably take the win. We pick up, oh my goodness, what a lead. Toxapex into Superior, opponent's going to save switch to Dunsparce, throw 6 poison jabs, and we get the catch and the sneak onto the Diggersby. And this game should basically already be over, because I can very comfortably command this mid-game matchup, and the Superior really has nowhere to go. I have a Toxapex, I have a Talonflame, so I'm just not going to give the Superior farm. When I eventually KO the Dunsparce, I can just pivot out into the Toxapex, and even if they have something like a Mudslap user, I have a big energy head start, so I can fight back and then just sweep with the Talonflame and still preserve a little bit of health on the Diggersby. So I'm going to farm up quite a bit of energy. I didn't want to risk a Fire Punch not KOing. Non-stab Fire Punch from a Pokemon like Diggersby is not going to do a lot, and now I can just pivot out into the Toxapex. Opponent staying in with Superior. Okay, this works out for me. I fire off the Scorching Sands. Oh, sorry, not the Scorching Sands. I fire off the Sludge Wave. It was Diggersby that was using the Scorching Sands. Frenzy Plant is going to connect. In the back is Clodsire. And here, I'm extremely happy that I did preserve the Diggersby. Losing the Diggersby could have meant a bit of a difficult endgame, but the good news for me is since I still have that Diggersby, this endgame is going to be a very comfortable one. Earthquake KOs, I can just bring in the Diggersby, and I'm going to look to overfarm because I want to play to a charge attack priority tie. I'm able to do just that, force a shield with the Scorching Sands, I get the debuff, that debuff isn't going to matter. I don't need the Diggersby anymore, I can just sweep with the Talonflame, I can bring in the Talonflame, and the Clodsire animation gets completely messed up. They try for the catch, they're unable to get the catch, and now I can just go for the Brave Bird, and again, this game will be over. So, I feel like this is a really nice showcase of how strong of a closer Talonflame is, but also just do not play Talonflame until this bug gets fixed. Great lead Toxapex into Talonflame, Dunsparce save switch, and I can just bring in the Diggersby, and Diggersby just so effective at shutting down these safe switches. If they had Dunsparce on the lead, then you would just stay in and play it out with the Toxapex. But yeah, I can't in all good conscience recommend this team, even though it was the first Legend team, until they get this Incinerate bug fixed. I tank move after move on the Diggersby, launching another Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands will connect, and I get another Scorching Sands as well. Will this actually be enough to KO here? This will be close to Scorching Sands. Oh, it does not KO. However, that does limit the farm that my opponent's Talon will get, so that's not entirely terrible for me. In comes the Talonflame. Talonflame, despite the fact that it's an Incinerate Talonflame doing the Fire Spin animation, so I guess this is the other side of it, is the Incinerate users then look like they're doing Fire Spin for some reason. In the back is Gastrodon, and I bring in the Talonflame, and Gastrodon's animation immediately gets messed up again. I will commit the shield, as I thought they were at enough for a potential Water Pulse, but this can only be a Body Slam. And a Body Slam means that I can let this go. This game is far from over, however. My opponent does have a winning play. They have a move banked on their Talonflame, so their play is going to be to double shield the Gastrodon, force my final shield, and do a combo play with their Talonflame to KO mine, thus allowing their Gastrodon to sweep. So, I'm going to have to make this play. I'm going to have to immediately switch out into the Toxapex as they bring in the Talonflame, trying for the snipe. We deny the snipe attempt, land the brine, and this game is over. Talonflame is going to fire off a fly, intentionally not going for the Brave Bird, just to give more farm to the Gastrodon. Gastrodon has to try and leave with a Body Slam loaded, but I have a move loaded on my Talonflame, and Talonflame will win charge attack priority. So Gastrodon is going to farm up. Body Slam will be able to KO, but the energy they have on the Gastrodon will not matter as Talonflame denies that energy with a charge attack priority tie win, knocking out the Gastrodon. Opponent had very tough alignment in that game, but they played extremely well. Hopping into the final match, leading Toxapex into Arctibax. Arctibax, a Pokemon that Diggersby would not be a huge fan of seeing, so I definitely don't mind catching it on the lead. Arctibax is going to fire off a Dragon Claw, and I'm going to return fire with a Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave will do a lot of damage if it lands, and it does big damage, but the opponent just hangs on with a fraction of HP to make one final Dragon Claw. In comes for Alligator, and this could be bad if they farm down. I farm up, my opponent goes for a CMP tie as I make it to the Sludge Wave. I actually didn't click the Sludge Wave, but that is perfect because now they don't have the energy lead that they would need to overwhelm the Diggersby. As Diggersby, as long as the Feraligatr doesn't have a big energy head start, Diggersby has a very commanding matchup there, as you can survive a Hydro Cannon and they can never farm down because Shadow Claw is double resisted. So I go for the Scorching Sands. Opponent is actually going to commit the shield. I will go for the Fire Punch. Honestly, I thought a Fire Punch plus a Quick Attack would KO, and this is actually a crucial error on my part, because look at this. The Fire Punch plus the Quick Attack just does not KO. I let it go, and as it turns out in the back, I needed the Diggersby. It's a Clodsire. My only way to win this game is if it's a Sludge Bomb Clodsire. Stone Edge, I lose the ones every single time. So, I call it. I cross my fingers. It's a Stone Edge. And I do lose the game. All in all, big congratulations to Aziz Wireless. Being the first legend in the world of the max out season and this brand new meta is a massive, massive accomplishment. And I believe he'll actually be competing at the Dortmund Regional Championships this weekend. So I'm very excited to see, now that he's basically been the first one to conquer this meta on the Go Battle League side of things, what he decides to bring to that regional championship, and if he can do what he did last season, which is win an early regional. So big congratulations to him. This team, once the Incinerate animation glitch is fixed, will probably work out very nicely. It's a very bulky team. You can save charge moves, catch them, kind of be very flexible with your playstyle. You don't necessarily have to be very like alignment dependent, so to speak. But in the interim here, while that glitch is not fixed, I would not recommend using it, even though it was the first Legend team, because it is nearly impossible to count when your opponent's Pokemon are showing the wrong fast move, and when you're using Incinerate for some reason, that just keeps happening. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.